Hey guys, Kev here, and I'm ready to do my full review on the Demko Knives AD20. So, I recently did the Cold Steel AD10 and the AD15. Both of those knives are interesting. The AD10 I like a lot. It's just a backlock. It's not very fidgety, so it's not really for me. The AD15 I absolutely despise. I hate that knife. Don't ever bring one of those near me again. I'm just kidding. I just didn't like that knife. It didn't jive for me personally, but I understand. I can understand why some of you weirdos out there would like that knife. So this is the AD20. This is the culmination, I'll call it. Guys, if I can't wait for the AD25 if this is where we're headed, right? This thing is absolutely magnificent. It looks gorgeous. It is gorgeous. It functions fantastically. It's a beast of a work knife if you need it to be. It's a good EDC knife. It just does things so well. But yeah, it's big. For me, it's a big knife. But it's probably the biggest knife currently in my collection that I carry. I carry it like anything else. It doesn't bother me one bit. The weight is perfectly fine on this. I think it comes in around 5.5, 6 ounces. Don't care. That's the kind of stuff I used to care about. I used to care about blade length. I used to think anything over 3 1/4 was too big for me. I used to think anything over 3 ounces was too heavy. Just things like that. I never gave knives a chance. Yeah, a lot of knives over 3 1/4 are not for me. But how many do I have now? I have most of my knives are probably over that, and I love them. So you just have to give things a chance. It's not really what I wanted to talk about here, but I guess what I'm saying is if there's a design or a maker or something that stands out to you, and you have interest in it, but you're like, it breaks some kind of rule you have, some like completely subjective rule that you have in your head, give it a shot. I implore you to give it a shot, because I would not have this knife right here if I stuck to my guns on all those things. This knife is longer than 3 1/4. I mean, it's 3.6 inches or something like that. Overall, it's way bigger than something I used to carry. It weighs way more than something I used to carry. So, those are things. G10, I never liked G10, but this knife is fantastic. This is one of my top 3 favorite knives of all time, favorite knives in my collection. So give things a chance, guys. And I wanted to get this review done. One, because I should get the review done. I've had this knife for a month now, I think. Maybe less, I don't know. I did the first impressions. I did the unboxing. And I've carried it a bit since then. I have a lot of knives I'm rotating through for review that I own, that I just get, all that stuff. But this thing finds it into my pocket at least once a week, if not more. And that's a lot for me. I've found on days like today we had a snow/ice storm here on the East Coast. I live outside of Philadelphia. And I've found lately that when we have weather like that, like we had a couple of snowstorms this month. We had one that was like a foot of snow. We had another one with like 6 inches. And then the one today was 4 or 5 inches, but with ice. And I get really bulked up when I go out in that weather because, they always close daycare. And then I have to go pick up my mom to come watch our baby, whatever. And I'll put on like 2 layers of clothes. And this is the knife that goes in my pocket. Like, undoubtedly, this is the knife I want in my pocket for that, because I'm going to be wearing gloves. It's going to be really cold, and I just want something I can grab onto if I need to use it. And I can use with gloves. I can operate with gloves. This knife does all of that. But then I also carry it when I'm just wearing jeans every day kind of style, you know? So it's just a very versatile knife in my opinion. I did order a deep carry clip from, I think it's Pop's Custom Clips on Etsy. Yeah, Etsy, I believe, not eBay. Yeah, Etsy. And he does deep carry clips for these. And I just had to specify in the notes that I wanted a lefty one. And he was cool with that. So I got the Stonewash Blue. And I'm hoping that'll go well with these lime green scales, which I know in pictures and probably video, this looks like highlighter yellow. I assure you it is lime green and it looks fantastic. I'm not into yellow, but this I am into. So let me start from the beginning on this knife. I know that was a kind of preamble ramble there. That's what I do. This knife, it's just so cool. I mean, look at this blade. So it has this drop point, which I think now you could call this a clip point, right? It's almost like a Bowie style blade to me. Bowie, whatever the frick you want to call it. Now this has a regrind. So the guy who owned this before me had this reground by Tom Crine. You can see his maker's mark there. He marks the logo on the blade to make sure that you know this is not a Demko custom, because the custom AD20s come with a hand ground hollow grind. And this is a hand ground hollow grind, but it was done by Tom Crine, not by Andrew or his brother, John Demko. So he marks it up to make sure that's clear. And I think he changed the blade shape a little bit. I could be wrong, but I swear the first one I had like a drop, more of a drop point look to it. And this is kind of a Bowie clip point. It does make the blade look kind of small for the handle, but it always looked that way. It just makes it a little more so, but I don't mind at all. I think it's absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. Just look at the grind lines on this thing. Tom Crine is a master of regrinds, and he's honestly a good knife maker in general. I think he does a lot of fixed blades. So yeah, you have that 20 CV satin blade here, right? I don't know. It could be stonewashed. I think it's satin. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Yours may be different, so it doesn't matter. 20 CV stonewash blade with the hole in it. I wanted the 20 CV. That was the big thing for me. The first one I had was black G10, and it had a 3V blade on it, and I really liked it. It was cool, you know, but I sent it out for review to my good buddy Kyle, DTOM Knives and Gear. This is well before I started my channel. And he offered me more than I paid for it. It was before we were really good buddies. And I took the money. You know, I would never post a knife for a price like that. But if somebody's just going to say, hey, I'll give you this much, like, okay. And I knew I wanted one in 20 CV. And so that's why I did it. I thought I would find another one a little quicker. But it took me like 6 months to find this. So that's kind of what happened there. But I found it in 20 CV with the hole. I could have done without the hole. I think it kind of looks better without the hole. And I kind of suck at Spidey flicking this. I have to give it wrist to get it to Spidey flick because this finger gets in the way. Just something happens where I don't flick it all the way. I'm getting better at Spidey flicking this knife. There's certain knives like I'm good at. And if you go watch Jake's video, Bearded Gear, on how to Spidey flick, he makes fun of me because I asked him how he does it on this knife because I was sitting on the couch just like doing this. And and sometimes I get my finger caught in there. It's a nightmare, guys. But if I try and I do this, yeah, I can flick it out every time. That's not a big deal. But sometimes I'm just lazy and I want to just do this, you know? So I kind of like the thumb flick on this better. I usually do the thumb flick and I do this. I just do the lock flick, right? But yeah, back to the aesthetics. You have this lime green, I think it's Knife Joy exclusive, G10 handle. You can get this knife in G10 in many colors: maroon, highlighter yellow, this lime green, gray, green, black, jade. There's a couple other ones, I think Toxic Green or something. You can now get it. It came in titanium as well. Add $200. So MG AD20 like this in 20 CV or 3V with G10 is $425. Now this one you got to add like $100 because of the regrind, but don't worry about that. Then they made the titanium MGs, and those were like $625. It doesn't matter if you have the hole or not or whatever, or the steel. I don't think, at least for the 3V and 20 CV, the price was the same. Now they came out with FRN, so you can get one of these in an FRN fiberglass reinforced nylon handle. Check out their Instagram, Demko Knives, if you want info on that. I think those are going for like $350, and I think that's why they did it, so they could get more of these in more people's hands for a better price, and I appreciate that. They also did some sprint runs, we'll call them. They did crew wear. I think they were doing, they did M390. I think they were doing a run in Vanex or LC200N, something like that. So they're doing cool stuff with this, guys. They're doing all different handle materials, blade shapes. That's right, I forgot they have a shark's foot, I think they call it, which is like a warny type deal. They have, I guess, I don't know if this was reground to look like a buoy clip point or if it came like this. And then you could also get a drop point. There's just a lot of options right now for this knife. DLC. So they're just hard to get, but they're coming out with more and more with different varieties. And this knife is an absolute home run. So good on them, man. I'm really happy for Demko Knives. I just love Andrew Demko. So I could not be happier for the man right now and his brother John. So yeah, back to the aesthetics. You have this sweet handle that kind of comes down here and then has this, like, I don't know, it almost feels like a sword or a saber type deal here, or a machete type deal, whatever you call this thing back here to kind of lock you in. Now, if you have a huge hand, this could be an issue because, you know, it's going to be really awkward with that thing. But, I mean, you have to have a really big hand to, you know, mess with that. And then you even have this choil, so technically you'd need a hand like this much longer than mine. So, really, really cool handle. You have on the pivot, you have Demko Knives on this side. And then you have Wampum, Pennsylvania, which is where it's made on this side. You have a non-deep carry clip that I honestly don't care that it's non-deep carry, but I don't mind having deep carry. So now that I found one, I ordered it. It is reversible. No, it's not reversible. Sorry. You can get a lefty clip for it. So I had to buy mine from Demko Knives. It was $10 shipped to me. So you can put a lefty clip on it. It's not a reversible clip, if that makes sense. Ergonomics on this knife are absolutely fantastic. In the back grip here, the normal grip feels absolutely solid. These grooves all work well. I feel really comfortable. And then if I choke up to this choil, it's even more comfortable. I have control. The jimping goes halfway up the blade. So you can, in either position, you have that jimping there for you. There's no other jimping on this knife, which is nice, unless you count the shark lock. I wouldn't count that. So that gets me to action. Action on this knife is ridiculous, guys. I sort of talked about it. I like to thumb flick it, and I like to do the shark lock flip, whatever you want to call that. Just really, really cool. It has the shark lock on it. I guess I should mention that. It's a patented lock that Andrew Demko came up with. Basically, it's a ambidextrous lock where you kind of pull on the shark fin, shark tab. That's why they call it the shark lock. That will disengage from the blade in a locked position. And you'll see it drops out there. And then you can rotate it out. And then it locks back down. And you are solid as a rock. And then when you're holding it, you're basically holding down the lock. This does not get in the way in any shape or form. I know it looks kind of strange like it would, but when you're in the grip back here, it doesn't go anywhere near your hand. And when you're choked up, your thumb goes over it, so you don't have that problem. It feels fantastic. It's super fidgety, which is the bonus for this knife, right? That's the reason I wanted it. If this was just another backlock Demko, yeah, it looks cooler than some of the other ones, but I wouldn't have got it. I got it because of that shark lock. This is on bearings, so it absolutely is just fun to play with. It drops shut. It's just a ball, guys. This knife is fantastic. You can put skiff bearings in here. I might have some that fit it, so I'll take a look when I take it apart for maintenance. I'm a little afraid to take it apart because the shark lock has a spring. I've heard it's not difficult, but I just haven't gotten around to messing with it because it stayed clean the whole time and the action is phenomenal. So I don't really see a need to do that. Sorry. Take a sip of my key lime. Look at that. Key lime LaCroix. And once I get that clip, this is going to match. Haha. What a loser, right? Matching your knife to your drink. Ah, boy. We are dead centered on this bad boy. Value. So, $425 retail for this knife right here. Again, add $100 for this regrind. I paid $530 for this shipped to my door. And I think that was a fair price because of that regrind. Now, $425 for G10 and 20 CV. Okay. I get it. But this is a Demko MG. This is basically a handmade custom knife, guys. Yeah, they use CNC and all that crap, but they put this together, you know, in their shop. This isn't made by Cold Steel and thrown together in Thailand. Like, this is made in Pennsylvania on the other side of the state for me by two men who slave away in a shop and bust their ass so that we can get cool-ass knives like this. I will pay $425 for this all day long and twice on Sunday. Do not fucking tell me that this is too expensive. Okay? Sorry. I have a strong feeling about that. I just love that. I love what Demko's doing. It's just different. A lot of times, these type of knives will be way more expensive because they're custom or whatever. The ones that are hand ground by Demko are $825. That hand ground hollow grind costs you an extra $400. That's how much time goes into it. He's not just adding $400 of being ass. Like, that's how much time and energy and everything it costs him to go and grind that blade by hand. These MGs, okay, normally this is a regrind. Normally they come and it's a flat grind. And guys, they're phenomenal. I had one. They cut like a dream. So $425 is absolutely a good deal for this. And they're trying to make it cheaper by doing FRN. So I really respect that. I was just kidding, you know, when I said whatever I said and cursed. Sorry. I'm not sorry. So yeah, that is the Demko Knives AD20. I recommend this to everybody, anyone and everyone. If you have the money to get one and you're comfortable getting one or spending the money on it and you can find one, get it. It's absolutely worth it unless you have the smallest hands in the world, and even smaller type hands will fit on this knife and not have a problem. My hands aren't huge and I have plenty of comfortability on this knife. It's just so good, guys. I recommend it to righties and I recommend it to lefties. And I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day and I will catch you later.